Hello everyone, this is Mumbo here, welcome back, and today we are back on my evil science lab world. This is episode 3 of the Redstone Let's Build series, and may I just say a massive thank you for the amount of support that we received on the first episode. Now for me, the second episode hasn't actually come out yet, which is a little bit strange, but I do record my videos 1 week in advance, just so I can stay on top of things, just in case anything goes wrong and it means that I can't record. I have got videos backed up, and I don't have to worry too much. But yes, the episode 1 just went down so incredibly well. I have never launched a series with such a fantastic response, and some of your comments have been amazing, some of them have been incredibly helpful, and actually given me some really great ideas for this series, so I am incredibly excited for this, as I'm sure you can tell. Now, one very common comment that was coming through was the fact that we don't actually have an exit for this room. You sort of go in here and then you're stuck. We don't actually have any way to get out of our science testing facility, and do not fret, ladies and gentlemen, I have thought of this, okay? That was one of the first things that I thought of when I started this build, and that was the fact that we want to have some cool way of getting out. So I've got it covered, and you can look forward to that in the future, but we are not going to be doing that in today's episode. We are instead going to be working on a few bits and bobs, the first things being things that can go in this corner. Now I've got a fairly decent idea of what I want to do. You're going to have to let me know what you think of it, but I personally think like this will be pretty good, okay? I think this is going to be quite cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to work on it. I'll try and come up with a design, and then I will let you know what it's like once it's done. So this is what I have decided to create, and originally I was going to make it a wheat farm, but then I concluded, well, that isn't really an evil science lab type thing, was it? So instead I have made a sheep cloner in the name of Dolly the sheep that was originally cloned or something like that. I seem to remember that happening. So yes, I thought, you know, this is an evil science lab. You can't have an evil science lab without some form of cloning device. So basically, spawns in sheep, and then they are pushed off to either side, in which they will fall into some form of pit or sorting system, killed off, and then we can either gather up their drops, or we could just keep them in a nice little pen. I don't really know, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this up in a fairly large pillar and just see what it looks like once it's all done, just in case I want to do some fiddling with the redstone to make it more fancy looking, or if I want to change up the pushing and closing sequence. But I actually quite like the way this works at the minute. It's quite mechanical, it's nice. And then there were two. Now in the middle here you may be wondering, what on earth is going on? Why are those sheep there? Well, I have decided to use my imagination a little bit here, and just hear me out on this one. Basically, these are the sheep that are being cloned. So we have them, they are in cryogenic fluid, aka the packed ice. They are just scooting about on it, you know, it's quite a thick liquid, so they're sort of almost on top of it. And they're being cloned, and then they are the things that are appearing on these blocks, and they are the things that are being pushed off. That is my imagination at work there. I don't know if any of you guys are anywhere. You're probably just thinking I'm mental, but I thought that was a nice little touch to add in. Also adds a nice piece of detail in between these two pieces of redstone builds, because let's be honest, they're not too exciting on their own. But anyway, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scooch this from this side over to this side, so then we have two of them on either side, so it's nice and symmetrical, and it should look pretty good in the context of this science testing facility. And then at the bottom down here, I don't really know what I want to do. Do I want to drop them into water and then have them still alive, or do I want to drop them into lava and just say, hey, I cloned a sheep, now it's died, but I did do it? I don't know. Let me know what you think I should do at the bottom here. I've done a little bit of the wiring here. You can see that we have both of the modules in place, and when we hit this button, it's so pointless. It's just, there is no use for that machine whatsoever, but it definitely looks pretty cool. It definitely works quite nicely, and at the minute I'm just manually killing off the sheep, but I definitely need some kind of automated way to kill these guys, because otherwise they really are going to add up. But now what we have to do is we actually have to wire up the other half of the redstone, and it's a little bit of a complex procedure considering we have so much redstone stuff going out round the back as it is. But I'm just trying to work out whereabouts the entry point for the redstone is. Is it somewhere around here? Yes, actually we got it straight away, which doesn't usually happen. But oh lord, we just spawned a ton of sheep. So perhaps that wasn't such a great success after all. But yes, we're just going to run this redstone line around the back. And actually, yeah, it really isn't as hard as I was expecting. The other one that I did, I had to do some fandangled moving about, and it was quite difficult to do. But this one is fairly straightforward. Just run it out round the back. And this will mean that all of our sheep towers are going to spawn sheep all at once, hopefully. I think I had the other one on 2 ticks as well, so we'll throw in another repeater for good measure. Because yes, we've got a repeater there. So they should be roughly on the same timing circuits, hopefully, so that it looks nice and synchronized. And we get all of our sheep falling downwards at the same time, which should be a glorious symphony, to say the least. But actually, I think those were quartz blocks. Right, here comes the moment of truth. We'll just hit this button here and take a step back, and oh, that is quite something. Beautiful. Oh, just beautiful. That is exactly what I like to see in Minecraft. Totally pointless inventions. Hooray. So let's do a quick recap. Right out the front, we've got the stairway to heaven, then we have a little secret drop down that takes us into an area, and then we have this 4x4 vault door that eventually brings us into the main place, in which we have got a giant universe death clock that isn't actually running at the minute because it was creating quite a lot of lag. And we have a zombie torture chamber with a couple of sheep in it apparently, and also some sheep cloning facilities. But now we are moving on to the next phase, and that is the nuclear power station. That is right, you heard me correctly. We are going to be making a nuclear reactor. But before we do any of that, we need a little bit in the way of security, because obviously you don't want to have a nuclear reactor just free for anyone to use willy-nilly. No, you don't want that, okay? So we need some security, a few passcode locks and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using my little spin lock things that I created the other week, and we are going to be placing those in series to give you a massive number of possible combinations, making it incredibly difficult to crack. So what we have in front of us are 2 pin code combination locks. Each one of these has got 4 item frames, and each item frame has got 8 possible outputs through the different directions in which the arrows can point. Now with these numbers in mind, we can get a good idea, in fact a dead accurate idea, of how many combinations this will create when they are put in series. So we have 8 possible combinations per item frame, and we have 8 item frames, meaning that we have 8 to the power of 8 possible combinations, which is 16.7 million. Around abouts. 16.7 million possible combinations. If someone is going to try and crack this code, they are going to be there for a very long time, but I thought I might as well save them some time, because the correct code is in fact 11111111. So there we go, we've got the easiest code in the book, because otherwise I would forget it and we would be there for months upon months trying to solve it. But anyway, what I'm now going to do is connect these up, because at the minute they are completely independent of one another, which is exactly what we don't want them to be. So we are going to connect these together using an AND gate, and I actually haven't started that off correctly. This output needs to be off for this to work properly, so we will run that into a NOT gate or an inverter. I'm using all the technical terms now, I'm trying not to, just in case some of you get lost. So this is a correct combination and our output is off. That is good, that is exactly what we want. And then we are going to run that into the middle there. I think these are the 2 middle blocks, aren't they? No, they're a little bit off-centered. You know what, I'm going to fix it, because otherwise people will go mental in the comment section. So there we go, and then we will place a redstone torch off to the side here, and that signifies that our output, our combination, is actually correct. It's really difficult to say on camera and try and get my head in gear to do all of this mathematics, because generally speaking, I'm alright at maths generally in real life, but it's just so hard to do when you're talking, I mean really. So yes, run this redstone line along like this, and then redstone going all the way along into our AND gate in the middle. And because both of these combinations are correct, our redstone torch is on, but as soon as we get one of these wrong, we should see that our redstone torch turns off almost immediately, which is quite impressive there. So there we go, that is working as expected. 16.7 million possible combinations, all in vanilla Minecraft. Now that is pretty impressive, isn't it? Now we are bringing out the big guns. In front of you is a 6x6 piston door. I know, 6x6. I remember when the first 4x4 piston door was made, and we were like, how much bigger can it get? Well, I mean, 6x6 definitely isn't the biggest door ever released. That's also the most worrying thing, but this is incredibly compact. It is designed by a guy called Game For You, and also seems to have been co-designed by a chap who goes by the name of Brams. I'll put a link to both of their channels down in the description so that you can check it out, as well as the video for this specific door, because this is incredible. It has completely blown me away. Just the size of the redstone, I don't know if I can actually show you particularly well, but it is so crazy compact. No, you really can't see anything down here. It is A, far too dark, and B, far too cramped to be able to see anything, but I will quickly show you how it works. So here we go. We'll just flick this lever down here, and you will see that it opens up fairly quickly, considering it is a 6x6 piston door, and you can see just the crazy places in which those pistons are extending. They are extending all the way down here. If we grab a piston, there are pistons that have to come down here and extend. It is absolutely mental. So let's take a look at the closing. It's much faster. The person in the video said it was about 2 seconds, which seems about right. But now we actually have to link this up to our combination lock, and it shouldn't be too difficult at all. All we have to do is run the output from our AND gate into our piston door, and it is actually the right way round as well, so that is okay. So we're just going to run this in here using a repeater. I don't know actually if it needs a specific pulse length. Probably not, because it was just using a lever. That was a silly question. So then we just run this out from this redstone torch here, and we run it straight into our door. Now, because the combination is correct, we actually want it to be in the open state, which means that yes, we do need to use a redstone torch, and that is going to flicker, which I don't want to happen. I don't want a 1-tick pulse flying through this thing, because I would hate to see what happens. But anyway, if we get our combination wrong now, we should see that our door will close up. That is fine, but then as soon as we get it correct, it should all open up nice and quickly. And just take a look at those pistons there. How do they do it? I cannot understand for the life of me. Blown away. You may have noticed something that happened right at the very end of that clip there. The door actually stopped working, and I read up on it, and it turns out that you cannot run a repeater into that door design. It's probably because it uses some strange mechanics that the game doesn't really like, and thus running a repeater into it instead of a direct lever actually breaks the system. I've never seen that before, but I guess you learn something new every day. So instead, we have gone for the standard 4x4 vault door. I really do like this one, and actually, looking at it, it turns out we've got it at the wrong output right now. So I am going to have to run a redstone torch into that one. But if you haven't seen this in action before... Oh, I just made a little bit of an error there. Just replace all of those blocks. If you haven't seen this in action before, this is how it looks. So closing, very nice and quick. And so is the opening. It's my supercharged 4x4 vault door. I'll put a link to this one in the description so that you can check it out, because it really is quite good. And, oh, would you look at that, we have got ourselves another giant iron room. And this is where our nuclear reactor is actually going to be going. Nice and secure behind our 16.7 million possible combinations and a sturdy looking vault door. Now, up here you can see we have got some redstone strip lights. And what we are going to do is do the same sort of disco lighting that we covered the other day. So I think I should be able to take an output from this vault door up here, and I want a fairly decent delay on it, so we want them to be off by default, but this thing is currently open, which means that they should be on. Okay, I think that made a little iota of sense there. So now we have to actually mine out a lot of this area. You know what? I think I'm just going to do this one on camera, this one strip, just so we can do it nice and quickly. You can see exactly how it has been done, just in case you are wondering. And we definitely need to light up a little bit of this. So right the way to the end, it is quite a long strip light, but the way that we're going to be doing it is we are going to be doing it the cheaty way by using repeaters set to 4 ticks on each one. So we'll quickly run the delay round into this one, just a little one. And then, right, so here comes the first one. So you place down some redstone dust, and you can see that lights up 2 of them. And then you place a repeater, and then some more redstone dust. And you basically repeat this pattern. It is so easy. And it just means they will light up 2 at a time. Yeah, they light up 2 at a time, which is pretty good. It's better than nothing. Obviously, I would much prefer it if they lit up 1 at a time. But as we saw earlier, that takes absolutely ages to do. So there we go. That is how that one will look. And I don't really have an easy way of actually demonstrating this from inside the room unless we take out a few of these blocks. Alright, so what we're going to do is we will change the combination, so then this door should close and all of the lights in the room will go off. As you can see, they are all slowly switching off, and then when we get the combination correct, those lights will gradually turn on. So as we can see, they go down the room, and it does look pretty cool. Now imagine that magnified over each one of our strips, and it's going to look really, really awesome. But of course there is no need for your imagination, because I have gone to town and placed down all of those redstone lamps, wired them all up. So here we go, correct combination is done, and then we go through our door and wow, that looks really, really good, if not just a little bit laggy, but I am fairly happy with that. I mean, sure, the floor is still a little bit dark. I would prefer it if it was just a tiny bit lighter, but it'll have to do because it does look pretty good. But unfortunately, that is all I've got time for today, folks. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.